Our lives can change in an instant. The mother of a dear old friend of mine used to repeat that phrase quite often when we were in our youth. And because we were in our youth, we never took it very seriously. In fact, we kind of joked about it. But when someone dies, everything changes. Time stands still. There are arrangements to be made, plans to execute, paperwork. And for those who are left in charge, it's often a very emotional and confusing time. Losing a parent is a rite of passage we all endure. Losing a peer to a tragedy is a nightmare all its own. And death brings up issues that we don't expect. It's very easy to revert back to family dynamics that we had long forgotten when we least expected. The challenge, I think, is to maintain the clarity of staying present. In our own state of shock, while we struggle to find the right words, sometimes we can't find the right words and we tend to say nothing. And saying nothing is never the best option. Before social media became the primary source of communication, we used to be able to reach out and offer to make phone calls to help share the burden of the bad news. It gave us a purpose. It made us feel like we were helping in some way. We didn't feel so helpless. Now when we read about death and it happens on a device, somehow it feels more stinging. We revert to responding with an emoticon. An emoticon is just not good enough. If you can't pick up the phone, which is hard to do, at the very least send a text or an email. Or better yet, write a card. Send a note of condolence. It's a very simple way to show that you care. Keep some blank cards around the house. Don't worry about the perfect card. Get some stamps. Have them laying around. I'm so sorry. Those 3 little words go a very long way. It means the world to receive a handwritten note of sympathy. You can very easily say, I'm thinking of you during these difficult times, or my thoughts are with you and your family, or I'm wishing you hope in the midst of this sorrow, or comfort in the midst of pain, or they will always remain in our hearts and in our memories. If there's a wake or a funeral or a memorial service, go, show up, be present, make the time. It helps those who are suffering to be surrounded by loved ones. Now here's what not to say. Don't say, I know what you're going through. You can't possibly know what anyone else is going through. Don't say, they're in a better place now. Those words are seldom very comforting to those of us who remain behind. And don't say, call if you need anything. People will never call. Offer something specific. Can I pick up some groceries for you? Do you need me to pick up the kids? Can I drop off a meal on Tuesday? Let's meet for lunch next week. Can I take you to lunch next month? I think the hardest part is the aftermath. After the crowds have gone and the dust settles, then the loneliness really kicks in, and it can be very overwhelming. Joan Didion called it the year of the firsts. The first birthday, the first holiday, the first Tuesday, the first autumn. I mean, how many times have you thought, oh my God, I can't believe this happened. I've got to pick up the phone and call. And then you realize, no, I can't do that because they're not there anymore. Try to be the person that they can call. Let them know that they're not alone. We keep the memory alive of those we love by sharing their stories. We honor them in death by celebrating their lives and by remembering how their lives have changed or affected ours.